Welcome to This Is What I Do, where we explore the work that is waiting to be done in our community. I'm your host, DJ Hilson. Today, we are talking to Dakota Hansen from Eagle Alloy. Welcome, Dakota. We are pleased you're here. We are the Rotary Club of Muskegon, part of Rotary International, a group of more than 1.4 million individuals from around the world whose goal is to create lasting positive change. We've been doing that here in Muskegon since 1916. One of our goals is improving the local economy. This vocational spotlight program assists students in making rewarding career choices. We hope they can remain in our community and improve life here for all of us. That's why we're here today. So Dakota, tell us who you are and what you do.
My name's Dakota Hansen. I work at Eagle Alloy. I'm the senior engineering and robotics technician there. So I design new tooling for our sand molds there, continuous improvement stuff, do all types of support to the production guys. And just recently, as of like a year and a half ago, I primarily started programming our robots there. So we have 4 robotic grinding cells for our steel castings. So we're melting solid steel and 3,000 degrees and then pouring it into a mold. We make parts for Harley Davidson, John Deere, Cat, Bobcat, things like that.
So can you tell us a little bit about any challenges that you feel that you face when you're doing your work on a daily basis?
I think sometimes knowing that people will not always agree with you, it's okay to agree to disagree. And I think another challenge is just being new, just facing the learning curve.
So what do you believe the workplace values are in the community, and what gets done to show what those workplace values are?
I work in economic development, so I work with a lot of businesses. And we have different business grants that are available. So helping businesses grow is important for the city.
Well, I think that we owe it to our youth to share our path to where we are. I think a lot of times we forget about the journey and don't tell people about the mistakes that we made, all the times we fell down and we had to get back up. So I think it's really good to be, transparent, be able to be vulnerable and really talk frankly about how it is that you got to where you are today so that people can identify and understand that if you could do it, they can too. So I think we just need to share our stories more often.
Well, Muskegon ISD is trying to be a vehicle to get these out so our youth can see them, our community can see them. We share it through our social channels, in any of our publications that are electronic. I've asked some of our staff to show to students in their classrooms as well.
Tell us what's the most interesting thing that being a pipe fitter is. What do you love about your job?
I love the variety. It's not just one thing. We go from, sometimes we do threaded pipe, which is just screwed together at connections. Sometimes we do welded pipe, which, as that sounds, it's just welded together. Glued pipe, like what you have in your house for your drains and your water lines. It's a variety, and it's never the same thing over and over and over. And it can be as exciting as you want it to be.
So talk to me a little bit more about what the educational requirements are to be a pipe fitter.
Our application process requires a diploma, whether that's a diploma like normal or a GED, just some sort of high school diploma. Then from there, we do a math test that will figure out how well you are with your geometry, trig, different types of math. After that, we go through and do a interview.
After they put you through that math test and interview, how long is the apprenticeship? What does that entail?
Our apprenticeship is a 5-year apprenticeship. So we meet once a week, every other week. And then that is in class at our training center in Coopersville. We do classroom work, which is book work, drawing our own blueprints, being able to read them, more math-related stuff, going over plumbing stuff in the classroom. Then we go out and have our lab time, which can consist of practicing our welding, practicing soldering and brazing to bring copper together. But our biggest part of our training consists in the field because we're only meeting once a week, every other week.
I think this type of project is really sorely needed to keep our talent locally, whether it is career and technical education that doesn't require a formal degree or it's a 2 or 4 year degree. We need to keep our talent here. That is how we're going to solve our employment needs, our economic needs in Muskegon County. We have the people here. We just need to let them know what's available and encourage them to stay.
Welcome to This Is What I Do, where we explore the work that is waiting to be done in our community. I'm your host, Emily Morgenstern. Today we are talking to Sierra Peacock from Trinity Health. Welcome, Sierra. We are pleased you're here.
Thank you for having me.
So what kind of advice would you give to someone that is considering going into the healthcare field?
I would say my best advice to somebody going into the field, which I wish somebody had, told me, is always ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions, even if you're scared or you think it's dumb, because any question is a good question, and you all have to start from somewhere, And don't be afraid to make a mistake, because you're all going to make mistakes. We're all human. It's going to happen, but be honest about it. Speak up if you make a mistake and let your leaders know, so that way it can be contained and corrected and you can learn from it.
Tell us what you feel is challenged by the work, or the most challenging part of the job that you do.
I guess the most challenging thing sometimes is being the bearer of bad news. You don't always get to be Santa Claus and bring kids presents and tell them good things. Sometimes there's punishment involved, and I guess sometimes it can be a little rough, but it's part of the job.
So what do you believe is the most difficult part of getting the job that you have now?
I guess the most difficult part of getting the job is partly the training. You have to be in shape and you have to, work out every day and you have to have that integrity. Sometimes like sports, they say on and off the field, you have to practice your craft. And that's one of the things that some people struggle with is training while they're not on duty or at the police academy.
So beyond obviously the book work, there's also some physical aspect of it, and it makes sense. I mean, can you describe a little bit of why those physical tests and that physical training is important for the work that you do?
There's always something we got to be doing. If somebody takes off, we got to be able to run. If somebody wants to fight, we got to be strong. So it's kind of trying to stay one step ahead of everybody else in terms of physicality and making sure that we can keep ourselves safe by being in shape.
So I'd like to just ask you a question. I mean, we're in Black History Month. I'm looking at you. I know who I am as well. So we're two Black women having this conversation. I'd just like to know, being a minority woman, being a Black woman in the profession that you're in, how do you feel that is portrayed, and what do you feel the benefit is to those that will follow in your footsteps?
In my previous job, I did a lot of training, went to Oklahoma City for Brownfield Conference. I went to Detroit for economic development basic course, and I did not see many people that look like me. It's good at the same time because I know that doing things like this, having a conversation with Brianna Scott is important to have, because we can then open that path for, students who might be interested in doing this, might be interested in being a lawyer or economic developer. They just don't know, and I've never met or mingled with anyone like us to even want to follow in those footsteps. So I'm always open to doing it, even though being on camera makes me nervous, but I know the benefit of it is truly important. So
I think Rotarians can help by, number one, thinking of individuals that have unique perspectives and professions, and nominating those people to be interviewed for this program, one. Secondly, I think that Rotarians could help by spreading the word and spreading the links to these programs. I believe they are on YouTube. So sharing these videos on social media so that others can see them and share them as well. And that will hopefully help them to go viral so that people know about this program. And the more people that know about it, the more people that hear about it, the more views that we get, the more people we're helping in our community.
What else besides your education, your life experiences, your interests, got you to where you are today?
When I graduated college, I was really lost. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I was working.
Most of us are.
Yeah. I was working for Wesco at the time, and I had gotten moved up into their corporate office, into their marketing department as like a print production person. So I used to make like the pump toppers that you see, the stickers that you see on the pumps, all the signage in the store. I would print that, but I wasn't designing it. I wasn't doing they put me on social media a little bit, but I was like, I need something else. And so it was really a lot of trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I knew that networking was the key to get connected with different businesses and organizations in the community. So I went to networking events. There's a local ad club here on the lakeshore that I was a part of, where I would meet different business owners and other marketers in the area and just really connected with them afterwards. But also on the side, I started doing design work for small businesses. So like logo design, flyer design. And through that, people just started like recommending me to other small businesses. And that was probably the biggest payoff I could have ever had in my career, because I was just trying to build a portfolio, essentially. But through that, I met a lot of people.
So how could a student best prepare to be the next economic developer in Muskegon? How does one prepare for that? What would you tell them to do?
I would tell them to learn about their local government. Be fierce, be confident.
I love my job. I love waking up and going into work, and I think that's one of the best things in the world. So I think this is one of the jobs that it's different every day, and you never know what you're expecting. So I think it kind of makes life interesting. So that's why I would promote police work to anybody.
Have an open mind and just don't be afraid to fail. Those are my two biggest things. It's okay to not know what you want to do with your life, especially when you're, high school, middle school, or even a couple years into college, because that was me.
It's one of those things that if you don't feel like you're college bound, if you don't feel like you're college material, if you feel like you're a hands-on person, trade is a great place for you to go.
I have this motto that I'm always saying is to just be a good human. Like if you are just a good human, you will go so far in life. And so that's, respecting people and who they want to be. It's treating people as in the way that you want to be treated. It's being trustworthy, being reliable, be kind, because you have nothing to lose if you're kind, if you're nice. And when you treat people with respect in that manner, then you just go so far. You become more reliable. You become more trustworthy.
Talking about giving back to the community and being part of the community, how does that contribute to your own personal success?
There have been times in my life and people who have believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And those are people of our community. And when you're in a position where you need help from the community, it is so encouraging to see that there are people that care, and there are people that believe that you can do it, and they will stand behind you. And so when you have a community that does that, and you get to a point where now you can turn the page and you can start helping the community, that's why I do it. Do what makes you happy rather than what's going to make you the most money or what your parents wanted you to do. That's a really big thing, but I think one other really, really critical piece of advice that I would give to any students is to, specifically in the design world, is to build confidence. And because you're going to be criticized, your work is going to be criticized. And so being able to not take that criticism as a failure, but taking it and learning from it and improving yourself is really, really important. And so build your confidence. Do what you got to do. Get yourself out there. Do things that are uncomfortable and out of your comfort zone. to just get that confidence built up.
Great. Well, there you have it, folks. Follow your passions and don't forget to give back to those that have helped us. We thank Christina today for sharing her story with us, and we thank you for joining us. If you think this program might help someone else, please send them the link, and until next time, the Muskegon Rotary Club would like you to consider doing something good for your community.
I think this is a great way to show the value of Rotary. Number one is that this is not necessarily the number one thing in our mission, but it's a way for us to support our community. And so it shows that Rotary can do a lot to support our community, including highlighting great careers and things in our county, which is pretty cool.